So is this really about racism or is there something else? How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about this headline that has been all over the internet, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, etc., that says a North Carolina city hired a black town manager and the entire police force resigned. So when you hear that headline, when you read that headline, you may think that the entire police force, they're white and they are revolting against this black town manager. Now, I think everybody that resigned was white, but the question is it because the new town manager is black, or is there a different reason? See, when you read that headline, it doesn't make an accusation. It just says this is what happened. She was hired and then they resigned. It doesn't tell you any backstory, why she was hired, who was there before, what the town is going through, the size of the actual police force in the town, the size of the town. It tells you nothing. There's no context. So what I'm going to do right here is give you some context, and then we'll be able to put two and two together, maybe get four. But before I go any further, let's roll the clip. In this clip, you're going to see local news out there in North Carolina talking about the whole situation. And after we get done with that, I'll come back. I'll talk about what was said there. Then I'll give you the rest of my 2 cents and my deep detail analysis. And then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
This is CBS 17 News.
The entire police department in one town, every officer and the chief resigned today. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Angela Taylor.
And I'm Rod Carter. This happened in the small town of Kenly, which is in Johnston County. CBS 17's Gilad Malamed is live there tonight with this story. Gilad.
Pretty soon, this town won't have a police department unless something changes. Police Chief Josh Gibson tells me he and the department's 4 full-time officers gave in their 2 weeks' notice today. Gibson says he quit because the environment the new town manager who started in June created. He says the other officers quit for the same reasons. We asked Gibson to specify what that means, but he said he wouldn't say because attorneys are involved. He says the town clerk and the town utility clerk also resigned. The people he spoke to like the job Gibson was doing as chief and says they're shocked and concerned by what's happening.
He's done a good job for our town. I'm a retired teacher from the area. I remember seeing him in the schools and just a little bit of shock.
And I was like, what in the world, man? I mean, we can't have a lawless town. There's no way on God's green earth we can have a lawless town. So I hope we can find a resolution.
We wanted to know what happens with public safety here in 2 weeks. A spokesperson for the Johnston County Sheriff's Office says there's no specific plans for increased patrol in the area, but they will be here for anyone in Kenly who needs them. We asked the Wilson County Sheriff's Office as well and are waiting to hear back. We also reached out to the town of Kenly for comment about this and are waiting to hear back from them. Live in Kenly, Gilad Malamed, CBS 17 News.
All right. Very interesting stuff. All right, Gilad, thank you.
All right. So you saw that, you heard that. Now, I didn't see any accusation in there, like officially, no official accusation of racism being the reason why this happened. Furthermore, this is a very small town, right off of 95, basically a gas station town, essentially. If you're living in Kenly or somewhere around there, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. Okay, right off I-95, if I'm traveling from DC to Atlanta or something like that, I might stop right there to get a bag of chips, maybe to stop at a rest stop, use a bathroom. That's pretty much what it is. It's a little small town, and it's also pretty racially, I don't want to say harmonious, but it's not like a 95% white population and 5 black people. No, it's 36% black, 36% white, 20% Hispanic, and then the rest is other, I suppose. Small town, not 100% white. So the question is this about racism? Where's the evidence for that? Let's talk about what happened before. Let's talk about what the town was going through and what the whole country is going through before the new town manager was hired. Now, they already were low on police officers. There were only 5 full-time officers before this whole mass resignation. They're supposed to have 8. That's right, 8 full-time officers for a town, which lets you know this is a little small, 2-pony, 1-stoplight type town. It is what it is. So when you see something that says the entire police force resigns, you're thinking about NYPD, LAPD. No, you're talking about 5 guys that quit at once. That's it. Okay. That's pretty much what it is. And I would suppose in the meantime that the county, surrounding county, would come in and be the police force, because like in my birthplace where I was born, like Rand, West Virginia, you have county police. There's no town police because it's a little small town. What's the point? You got county police that come through, but there's no actual town police. So they'll be okay in the meantime. But yeah, so basically 5 guys quit. And I think the police chief also quit. But the reason is, well, the reason they gave is not what you would think by reading the headline. They're saying there's hostile work conditions. Now, they were already talking about understaffing. That was a problem. That was a problem before she got there. And it continued to be a problem after she was there. So the police chief is like, okay, we're still understaffed, and you coming in here making it kind of a hostile environment. I'm out. And the other guys that quit, the other full-time officers, pretty much said the same thing. Hostile environment. I don't want to be here anymore. I'm going to leave. Now, they didn't go into the specifics of the hostile work environment because you got legal issues, but maybe that's the reason. And maybe it's not because she's black, because understand this. You in a small town, there's not a lot of industry there, and you have a job. You've probably been there for a while. Why would you resign just because this person is black that is the town manager? Why do that? Okay, you're not just going to leave your money on the table, maybe even the pension or something like that on the table, just because this person is black. It doesn't make any sense. There needs to be a little bit more to it than just the racial component. And again, you're not in some small place that's 1,000% white. It's equal black and white and Hispanic. It's pretty diverse, actually. A lot of these small towns are pretty diverse. So the whole racial element, it just kind of keys into stereotypes of normies who don't know any better. They watch the news, they watch some of these movies, and they think that if you go down to North Carolina, you're going to be beat on the side of the road by some white guys, drop behind the truck. It's not really like that, okay? I grew up in the Virginia Beach, Norfolk area, and this little town is not that far away. Right down 95, you could go, out west, Emporia, straight down. I could probably get there in an hour and a half, 2 hours from Norfolk. And as a matter of fact, the lady, what's her name? Her name is Justine Jones. She has some ties to Norfolk. I think she was with the city council or something like that. Don't get me the line, but I'll link to more about her in the description. But she has some ties to Norfolk, Virginia as a state, North Carolina as a state. So she's been in the area. She's not too far away from what they are culturally. So I don't think it's a cultural clash or a racial thing, because again, the town is equal parts black and white. She's from probably Virginia, North Carolina, in that area anyway, not far away, the same region. So culturally, it's probably not an issue. Racially, it's not really an issue. Maybe she's just brought in a toxic environment. It happens. It does happen. Look at the politics of the country. You're seeing the left go after Joe Biden talking about he should quit. You're creating a bad environment. So are we going to say that's racism? Are we going to say it's because of Vladimir Putin? Are we going to say it's because of the big, bad, evil, racist Republicans when Democrats, when Washington Post are saying that he should quit? So if it's not racism when it comes to Joe Biden or anybody else in office, like, I don't know, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Mitt Romney, Adam Kinzinger, any of these white politicians, then why is it all of a sudden a racial issue when it comes to a black woman with no evidence of that? If you were to say, hey, ABL, here's some evidence of the racism against Miss Jones as it relates to this town and the mass resignation, I'd be like, okay, cool, you got me on that. But I don't see anything. All I see is the headline that people don't actually look into and read up on. They see entire police force resigning. They're thinking about 1,000 guys laying down their gun and badge at once because this black woman came in there and they don't like her. You have 5 guys that quit and the police chief because of the work conditions that she brought to the table. Maybe that is the reason. Maybe the racial component is not really it. Just maybe, I'm saying. I think we need to look a little bit beyond the headlines here. Now, of course, some are going to say, well, ABO, you just trying to protect the white man, all this, that, and the third. I'm on the side of the truth. And you got to present evidence. You can't just accuse somebody of a thing with no evidence to support it. That's not right. Because anybody could accuse you of doing something you didn't do or believing a thing you don't believe in. And how would you like that? That's not the way you're supposed to do things. You got to have evidence. You got to have a little bit of proof, a little something. All I see is a headline that the media put out there to generate clicks and views because they're a dying format. They're dinosaurs. Nobody's watching or reading or listening to them anymore. They're coming to guys like myself that don't have all these corporate people up my hind parts, right? So they got to do something to stay relevant, which is to create clickbait and viral stories that aren't really based on facts. That's just my humble opinion, but I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about this story? Do you believe that racism is the reason why these 5 officers quit? Or is it something else? Maybe they're telling the truth when it relates to their reason. Maybe they're telling the truth when they say there's hostile work conditions and they just don't want to be there. Whatever your thoughts on that are, please let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. I think the officers here are telling the truth. I think that there's bad work conditions and that's the reason why they left. That's just my opinion. I don't really see any evidence to the contrary. If someone can present that to me, I'd be glad to take it. And if you're right, I will eat my shoe on camera. Not really, but you understand what I'm saying. I would come out and say that I got it wrong, but I just don't see anything here. Again, why would you quit your job you probably had for a while in this little small town with not much industry? Why would you quit that just because a black woman became the town manager? It doesn't make any sense. So we'll see what's going on if there's anything new that comes out, but I don't think so. I think what I'm saying here is correct. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.